I'll share a few things today about what Public-Private Ventures has learned about this notion of using data as a tool for performance improvement, particularly around that question that we touched on yesterday afternoon of the people stuff. Because that, the technology stuff, I mean, I know it's not but we thought that was hard. It's the people stuff that becomes the real challenge. And so we want to, I want to share a few things that might get your thoughts going, and then have some time this morning to just capture the wisdom that's in the room. I was chuckling because I think it was Vinny from Juma Ventures talking about getting the new software and how excited they were. No one talked about my biggest lesson as an executive director of a not-for-profit, which was just because a grantor wants to give you free software, don't take it. Because don't do anything until you know what you want and you know why you want it. I mean, there's so many lessons learned through the horror stories that we could each tell. So let me just say another quick word. How many of you are familiar with Public-Private Ventures? Oh, great, many of you. And I work primarily with PPV in the workforce development area, but PPV has done a wonderful job of doing good research in the field, both rigorous research and more anecdotal qualitative studies on what makes for effective practice. And then the good news is that we don't just put it in a report that sits on a desk somewhere. We try to get it out in some very practical, hands-on, accessible ways. And so one of the reports that we did a couple of years ago, as Matt mentioned, was called Good Stories Aren't Enough, which is available for download free on the Public-Private Ventures website, ppv.org. And I love the cover of this because it has a good story, the tortoise and the hare. And it always reminds me of how long it takes to do this process. We are the tortoise. And the good news is we know who wins if we stick with it. So I think it's been a really great symbol of the work that we do. And I do just want to say I have a few slides which I don't want you to panic about not getting, because they'll be on the community, the ETO community bulletin board. Let me do one particular commercial about a project of PPV that I think you might be interested in if you do provide workforce development services. It has a lot to do with performance improvement. One of the things that's true about the work that we do is it's hard to know what is good. We think we know what success looks like, but we don't often have information to say this is what good performance is. There's not enough data nationally, for instance, in the workforce field, to know what is a good job placement rate or a good job retention rate. We are right now, as we speak, involved in a performance benchmarking project funded through the Annie Casey Foundation. And we're looking for providers of workforce development services, public agencies, community-based organizations, services that are for individuals who are 18 and older at this point. And we're asking organizations to join with us, sharing some of their past outcome information, aggregate information. No, you're not entering a lot of data. It's in a survey format. And then you would receive comparison information where you're being apples to apples compared with organizations that are more similar to you in terms of who you serve and what you do. And you'd also have a lot of learning experiences with others in the survey. A number of you are already participating. Anyone who's interested in that, please see me afterwards. I think this is one step in our journey together as we learn about performance improvement, is to learn about what good performance looks like. I was struck in the conversation with David and the three practitioners yesterday that our work, the reason our work takes so long is that we really are about changing culture. And all of us know that. And change is scary. We're changing a culture in terms of how staff relate to data. There are a few staff in your organizations who go, yippee, data. Oh, this is fun. I'm one of those. I do it on planes for fun. I'm sick. But most of our staff are going, oh no, this is more work, and this is particularly scary. And so we are helping be a change agent to move the relationship from data is something that's imposed on me by somebody outside of me, my boss, my funder, the government, to data is something I want to learn about because it helps me improve my service to our customers, our participants, so that it's not a burden, it's actually a tool. It's not just impersonal numbers I don't really care about because I'm a people person. My heart is in serving, not doing numbers. But oh my gosh, data is the key to my giving better service. It's a massive change in experience that we're trying to occasion. It's a change from, oh, that's the IT guy. He does that, or she does that. Or that's my manager. She does those reports, to, oh my gosh, I could do that. I could actually use some of this information. I can understand this, and I can use it to help me do my job better. And it's a culture change that says, this has nothing to do with what I do. I'm a case manager. To this, the data helps me see how I contribute to the whole mission of my organization. The data is what connects my job to everything else that we do. That's a big change that we're asking folks to help with. This guy 500 years ago, Machiavelli, nothing more difficult to plan, more doubtful of success, more dangerous to manage than the creation of a new system. I don't know if he had ETO, but he knew that this was hard work. But nonetheless, as I said, there's great wisdom in this room. It's something that none of us have figured out, none of us, but we all have clues. And I think if we put the clues together, we might begin to get a handle on what does it take to do this culture change. So I'm going to, as I said, mention a few learnings from what we saw as we did some research with 6 organizations across the country who, in their work with data, through this report, Good Stories. And then we're going to have what we're calling a learning cafe, table conversation about what do we know it takes to make this work. And bolt the doors. No. This, I think, will be a very lively and productive experience. So basically, we did a bit of field research with 6 workforce development organizations who were high-performing organizations. And we said, tell us what it is that you're doing with information, how you're collecting it, how you're using it, how you're managing the staff processes around that. And there were 5 key themes of what they had to say. And I'll go through each one. Focus on the data that matters to you. Nurture the inquisitive mind. Makes staff jobs easier with data, all staff. Build systems to ensure data quality. We talked some about that yesterday. And invest in the technology continuously.